Hello everybody, today we're going to take a look at Dungeon Souls. It is a game made by a guy named Mike, and published by the kind of up-and-coming indie publisher Black Shell Media, which I believe started as Black Shell Studios, the guys behind things like Sanctuary RPG, which I need to look at soon because it's awesome. Dungeon Souls is a game very reminiscent of something like Nuclear Throne. It's got a lot of the fast-paced, top-down, dodge, lots of projectiles, screen shaky, hack-and-slash action of something like, well, a melee version, with some projectiles, of Nuclear Throne. But also, it has a different similarity that I also like. It is kind of like Nuclear Throne mixed with Risk of Rain, because you kind of have to deal with multiple kits. Every character has a very specific kit of abilities they come with, and you're trying to kind of use that playstyle with some various passive items you get to enhance it, see if you can get a good, powerful build to go through the levels, and also not spend too long in each level. And all of those are very much like Risk of Rain, so let's just jump in. So, Dungeon Souls. This is, of course, in early access. It's still very early. It's only been out on EA for a little over a month now, and they've already had 5 updates for it, as well as a few hotfixes in between each update that have added some things, added some items, got some balance, and changed a couple of the unlocks and things like that. And they're continuing along with it at a fairly good rate. If you look at the plans, they plan on adding more unlockable classes, more items, more levels and bosses, more secrets, and possibly some more stuff, including multiplayer. So, yeah, that's pretty good. So let's look at the feature set as it is now. You start off as a character, and you can choose from a pretty good number. I have all of them but 2 unlocked. I don't have this one or this one. I quite like the Necromancer, but I haven't used the Nightblade or the Warrior yet. I just unlocked the Warrior, whom you get by beating a Skeleton King boss who is, like, very bullet hell-esque. Lots of HP and defense and attack, but kind of slow, not very accurate. Right now, everyone starts with 3 skills. And I guess, well, you have 3 skills. You only start with 1, and you can, as you level up, unlock the others and upgrade them. But they're talking about eventually having replaceable skills for each character class, which I think would be a really good idea. So that maybe you could only take 3, but every class had more than 3 to choose from. I think that would be awesome. So let's go in. There are 3 difficulties, and they're actually very different in terms of what you get. So easy is just a flat 50% decrease on normal, but Nightmare is over twice as hard, and you also get triple the experience. Nightmare is really, really hard. The game as it is not easy. So let's jump in with the Warrior, whom I've never played yet. Boop. Welcome to the Dark Dungeons. You always start in a similar area, but of course it is randomly generated, as you would expect. Now, I'm going to get this multi-cleave ability, which seems interesting. So he's got a pretty nice long-range, somewhat derpy-looking basic attack here, fairly useful. And your goal in each level is to explore through, kill the enemies. The enemies will continually respawn. Like, you can't farm infinitely. You can't really clear out a level, per se. Again, a lot like Risk of Rain, how as you keep going, the enemies will keep respawning. Ow. Already had to use one of my potions, because I'm not used to the reach on this guy. Alright. And your main goal is to find 4 of these marks on the floor and activate them. And every time you activate them, this will happen. You will get surrounded. Oh, and that was that multi-cleave ability, which, as it turns out, is really damn powerful. So, let's go. There are various traps, items, chests, and things at each floor, and you are essentially trying to do this in a good amount of time. Now, unlike Risk of Rain, which is the thing I keep mentioning, it doesn't get harder as you go, exactly, but once you get all 4 of the little marks active, an enemy called the Redeemer will spawn, and you don't want to be around when this guy attacks you. He is invincible, as far as I can tell, can go through walls and sucks out your health at a very rapid rate when he's near you. So you want to after unlocking the fourth little seal on the ground, you want to port to the next level as soon as possible, because he will kill you. So you can infinitely farm a floor. I don't know if he can appear if you take too long in getting all of the marks active. I haven't seen that happen yet, but I also don't tend to take all that long to do it. Now, usually on the floor there is also a shop, and the shop will always have 3 items. You can only choose one of them, because as soon as you buy something, the shopkeep will disappear. So you can only buy one of their items. Although, kindly enough, they tend to leave a potion after they disappear, so you kind of get 2 items for 1. Let's see, 5 bonus defense, 5 max health, poisonous shrooms on crit. I don't know what this guy's crit chance is, probably not that great with such a low accuracy. Ah! Let's get the extra defense and get super tanky. And there, as you can see, he left me a potion. Now, as you level, you will always get a stat point every level, and every couple of levels you get a point you can use to put in your abilities. So you can unlock abilities that you don't start with, and you can also upgrade your potion effectiveness and your basic attack. So I'm just going to unlock both of my abilities so that I have them all. And I'm going to spend some points in my speed right now so that I'm a little more agile, because the boss of this first area is very bullet hell-esque, and a lot like Nuclear Throne, there is a lot of projectile dodging, as you can very clearly see right here, that is hugely important in the whole not dying process. That cleave is pretty sweet. Let's see what his other ability is like. Alright, so that's the 4th, that's the last one. So if I just sit here for a minute, that's pretty cool. You'll see what happens is, anytime now, there it is, the Redeemer has arrived, and if I wait too long, he will get to me, and my health will be gone very, very quickly, so we've got to move on. This is how the game goes. There are secrets and things now since the 5th update, but I haven't found any of them yet, probably because they're secret. And, oh yeah, melee characters can also break projectiles, but you have to, of course, worry very much about your swing speed when trying to do that. So, whoa, every class has, every class has a very specific kit of abilities. Now, that time, I was trying to pick up a potion. Space is kind of the button for everything as far as going, like, interacting with things and picking things up. So I was trying to pick up that potion, but I ended up going to a different level. Now, what I found is that occasionally, okay, I'm totally gonna die here, aren't I? Occasionally you'll find these bookcases, and the bookcases actually will usually be empty, but sometimes they'll take you to this place, which is a sort of different tile set, a different dungeon. That's called the Forbidden Library. I don't know all the details on how that works yet. I don't know if there's a specific chance of every time you find one of those bookshelves of it being able to take you here, or if you have to do something first. I don't actually know, because it seems pretty random to me so far. But, in this case, I accidentally found it and ended up going to here instead of finishing the Skeleton King boss, well, trying to get to the Skeleton King boss on that normal tile set. In this case, what actually happens is, after I die repeatedly to this, the boss is on the 3rd floor of every kind of... nope, didn't get the chance. Of every one of these levels. So the first 2 will be like this, and the 3rd one will be the boss room. Usually, I would have done one more and then fought the Skeleton King, but, you know, I accidentally poked a bookcase. Oh god. Oh god. Yeah, I find the Forbidden Library much more difficult with melee characters than the other standard area, so I definitely didn't actually mean to go here. Alright, let's put some stat points into damage and speed. Now, what I haven't been able to show you yet is there are items. And the items are, as you would expect, pretty much all passive, although there are some activatable ones as well, it seems. And you're in a very similar vein to Risk of Rain, dying by skeletons, trying to get a very powerful combination. Let's use that character one more time, start over from the beginning. A very powerful combination of passives with your abilities that synergize very well to make yourself more powerful. Just like in Risk of Rain, as you're trying to kind of make yourself OP, basically, by getting like a specific combination. For instance, I like the Ranger and the Necromancer. They're very good ranged characters, and there's an item called a Cannonball that gives your shots a random chance, or well, a small percentage chance to randomly explode, dealing area damage and a bunch of extra damage. Now, with the Ranger's fairly good fire rate and good range, that's a really useful item to get. And I can see that being quite useful with this Cleave as well, because you're hitting so many things at once that it seems like if your likelihood of actually getting one to explode would be greater. So there are a fairly good number of items in the game as it is right now, and of course they're adding more as time goes, which is a very good thing. They are actually continuously updating at a fairly rapid pace, and I hope they keep up with the pace on average to be around this good for a while, because it's been pretty quick that they've addressed some balance issues and things like that and some other complaints and added new content in. So hopefully that keeps up. I have a feeling that it will. I don't really have any reason to doubt that there will suddenly be a huge drought of updates because of the fairly sustainable seeming pace they've been keeping. Let's see. A slow. I'm not sure why beer slows your enemies, but it does. Accuracy, movement speed. That movement speed would be useful. And a potion, thank you very much. As you can see, there are power-ups. There are those green potions, which are your upgradable health potions. There are also these enrage potions that give you double damage for a short period of time, and these potions that have a 50% chance to either heal you back to full or do nothing at all. So those are great. And there also are, what I really like, some quite interesting risk-reward kind of power at a price style passive abilities, items. Once after I beat the Skeleton King, I found a green sword, green like the rarity. I don't know if items have rarities or what, and it actually gave me a huge increase in attack, 10 increase in attack, which is a lot, but it heavily slowed down my attack speed, but it was very much worth the trade-off for the character that I was playing. I've also found things like the Vampire Tooth, which is actually terrain dependent in that it gives you extra health regen when you're standing on blood, which is quite handy. See, this is one of those bookshelves. In this case, it's empty, so if I press space next to it, nothing happens. But occasionally you'll find one of those that will take you to the library. I have a feeling that it's random and that they will be adding more sort of Portal-esque things to get you to newer dungeon areas as they add them. Right now, I think there are only 4 dungeon tile sets in the game. So, you know, like I said, the game is still pretty early. It hasn't been out for that long. It's only been in early access for about a month. But already, the content that's in there is enjoyable, and it's hard not to actually recommend if you like this sort of thing, because Nuclear Throne has been going very strong for quite a while, and is well worth the prospect if that gameplay style is something you like, which for me it is. This is a bit different in that it combines a similar feel to something like Risk of Rain to it, and actually makes a pretty compelling fantasy-style hack-and-slash sort of dungeon crawl, which I like. That could be interesting. There's a golden key. There are silver and golden chests which take their respective keys occasionally. Always nice. Let's get this beaker. That seems pretty useful. And let's get that potion, see if I can hurry up and run to a new rune to use. Let's do this one! Boom! Double damage. So I do like the fact that every class is definitely quite unique and has their own playstyle, and of course their own kind of hopeful item list that you hope to find to maximize the synergies with the abilities they have. Definitely a worthwhile little bit of gameplay loop there, and it adds to the replayability and things, of course. Uh-oh. I'm gonna have to go past the Redeemer. Ow! Looks like I might get lucky, he says. So far, the Warrior is interesting. He's got a pretty good amount of reach for a melee character, able to actually outreach those guys. There's the Redeemer, by the way. Okay, yep, let's go. Time to leave. Ugh. The levels do get pretty hectic and actually fairly difficult. I'd like to show you the boss, because the boss is really a pain. Here's the boss. This is the Skeleton King. He's going to summon a bunch of skeleton ads, he's going to send out large waves of blue fire, and a barrage of blue fire, as well as a ground explosion, and he can teleport. Oh god. So he's got quite the repertoire of abilities, and of course you only have a small number of potions, and your potions do have a cooldown as well, by the way. So good luck with that. Uh-oh, he disappeared. So more or less, you're trying to out-damage him, avoid his big attacks, and not get swamped by his ads, and also not step on the spikes. So this boss isn't too bad, but it isn't easy either. Definitely not a, oh god, easy boss. Merlin, the boss of that Forbidden Library, is actually very difficult because of his rather extensive selection of very fast, powerful spells he can send your way. Ow. Damn it, he teleported again. What a jerk. Ow. Not doing so hot here, not doing so hot. Come on. I've been able to beat him once, which is how you actually unlock this character I'm playing. But I'm out of potions, and he's still got a good amount of health left. I died. Yeah. So let's show you one more thing. As in a lot of these new rogue-lite style games, there is a way to slowly increase your statistics in a way that doesn't involve starting over every time, and that's the passive screen. So the coins you get and don't spend in the dungeon on items, you will save for this screen, and you can spend them on permanent upgrades that affect all the characters. They are, however, quite expensive, so yeah, I could get extra crit chance. I think I'll go ahead and do that. 4%, not bad. And that applies to every character you can play. So let's play the Archer. Now, there is this rank system here. I don't think this does anything yet. It's just the number of enemies that you've killed and points you've gotten, it seems like. It adds up to this and gives you different medals. I would imagine that maybe later, when they add new abilities to the characters, that perhaps this will be a way to unlock more of them. But for right now, it's just kind of bragging rights, basically. So let's do a run with the Archer to show you a different class. So yes, as of now, there are a good number of items, about 50. There are 6 classes to choose from, 4 dungeon tile sets, several bosses, and a pretty good time, I would say. It is still early, but the price, I feel, is right for how early it is. They are selling it right now at a reduced price. It is $10 right now on Steam. They say that once the early access is through, they're going to raise the price slightly, which I assume probably means $15 is my guess. I have no proof of that. Obviously, they didn't tell me that. That's just what I'm going to guess. So the price is pretty right, in my opinion. I don't know why Navi from Zelda is following me around, but she is. And there is also a pretty good amount of enemy variety, actually, already. There is a decent selection that they could add still, and I'm very much looking forward to more interesting items and more classes, definitely more classes, and of course more abilities for each class would be a huge deal. One thing that I would say as feedback is you don't get a lot of items. As you can see, your inventory screen is huge. Like, you could potentially hold just an absurd number of items, but you don't actually get very many of them very quickly. Unlike something like Risk of Rain, where even after the first couple of levels, you could have, you know, a dozen items if you played your cards right. Now, that might be for now, just because, of course, there aren't as many items that they could even give you in the first place, so you aren't going to get as many. Hopefully, as they add more items into the game total, you will also be able to get some more items as drops more frequently, which I think would help keep the game more interesting. But as it stands right now, it's a fairly good time. It is difficult, but not overly so. It is punishing in that if you don't get your dodging down right and you don't get your stats up right, then you will just be slaughtered by bosses and things. but for what's here right now, the price is, I think, worth paying. So there you go, folks. Dungeon Souls. A good look at the first bit of it. I will, of course, be bringing you more coverage of it as it updates. Hopefully, I'll be able to maybe bring you possibly some more classes and stuff like that later once they add them. And the Redeemer is here, so I'm not going to be buying anything right now. And hopefully they will take the general ideas that they've said they want to add and add them in good time, and that it very quickly, I think, has a capability to become an excellent example of the genre, I think, because I've got to admit that Risk of Rain is pretty much my favorite one of the roguelite genre. At least it's absolutely one of my favorites. And if this game is anything like Risk of Rain mixed with something else like Nuclear Throne, which is also highly interesting and enjoyable, then I have a feeling that this could very quickly become a favorite for a lot of people, especially once they add multiplayer, which I must stress isn't in the game yet, but it is something they are very much aware of and going to add once they get the chance. So, thank you very much for watching, everyone. This has been a fairly basic, but, you know, that's really all that's available right now, look at Dungeon Souls. $10 on Steam. I would recommend it if, of course, you don't mind jumping into an early access. Of course, it is very worthwhile also, if you are too afraid, to just wait, see what the next few updates bring, and then make some decisions then. Thanks again, and I'll see you guys next time.